Welcome to my top 10 tips and tricks about Rust. These are things that I've found from other people that I really don't see many people using, or things that me and my friends have found out for ourselves. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the sneaky stashes, and you can also put in boxes and fire pits in certain things like trees, nodes, and random objects around the map. So you'll see that we can place things like fireplaces in the trees very neatly, and boxes within the nodes, but you won't be able to put stashes within the trees or nodes. So another thing to note is you will need the boxes to stick out of the node, which is kind of unfortunate. So I wouldn't really use that all the time. I would probably be using this one more so than putting things in trees or nodes. And you can see that it is completely within the rock, so you won't be able to break it or see it at any given point in time if you place it in there correctly. But you will be able to hide stashes, and fire pits might stick out a little bit. But you're not just going to be able to run by the stash, because you will have to sit and look at it for a second. So this is a pretty safe thing to do, but you'll see that fire pits kind of stick out and it's pretty noticeable. But it depends on what you have on you at the time. If you've only got wood, then this is a good thing to do. Drop down a fire pit. If you're being chased and you've got some valuables on you, you just want to drop somewhere super quick, run behind a tree, place that down, throw your shit in there, keep running. Next up, I want to show you guys how I've recently been building my furnace rooms. So in a lot of my builds, I have these two triangles right here, which I can utilize for a furnace room with some storage for charcoal so that you can keep it out of your other loot rooms, which is very handy at times. So you'll see that if you squeeze these furnaces in just right, you'll be able to place down a regular door or window, for example, which I prefer to use over doors, because then I'll be able to access these boxes easier. Unless you have a garage door that you want to put down there, that works too. But I find that putting a TC like this behind here is a very efficient way to not only block your TC, but add some protection for your furnaces, so they will have to break through either the walls or through the windows to get to your TC, making this a nice place to put down a window if you are afraid that raiders are going to find your TC and then just pick up all your other windows. Put the TC behind a room like this, which also leads into the next tip. Make your TC unlootable if you're going to use windows in your base instead of doors to protect your loot rooms. So you want to have some unlootable loot rooms. Hide your TC in a way like this, where it's kind of hard to see it unless you're really paying attention, because you might look in there and see furnaces and you're like, oh, whatever. But this is a good way to hide your TC, not specifically with the furnaces in front of it, but putting it in a triangle with a window on it, and then another half floor triangle like this up in the front, so that if they're not paying attention, they'll break the window and break your TC, but then realize that they can't access the loot. The fourth thing I want to talk to you guys about is utilizing false honeycomb. So you have a base like this, you've upgraded it to sheet metal, and in most cases you will want to honeycomb it with stone to make it look like you are not rich, or whatever the case may be. So you would honeycomb it in some kind of way like this, and you'll end up with these triangles on the outside. But if we go take a look at the inside of it, we can get rid of some of these walls because they are unnecessary, and most people aren't going to go through doors, I know, but in some cases they will. And in this case, we can create an equal or higher cost to go through this honeycomb that we've taken the wall out. And in the end, it'll still cost more to go through the wall than it would have to go through the door. But we also get some extra space to put furnaces, to put repair benches, whatever that may be, throw some extra bags in there and plop a door down in front of it. So these are some things that you can consider when building your base beforehand, because in this case we have to destroy the walls. So, maybe if you're one of those builders that sits down before you start building, you could consider this as a type of way to squeeze in some extra loot space. Or if you've built a base and you don't have any furnace room, this could be a good way to add some furnace space like so, and then you just put a door down. And in this case, we could put a garage door down to keep it, you know, worthwhile, so that if you do get raided through there, they're still gonna have to go through the other side, through those doors, to get to these boxes over here. And also, if you have an upstairs, you should always have it by your airlock, so they'll have to go through there anyway to get upstairs. Another thing I want to talk about is learning recoil patterns. I have some videos on this that are not so great because they're some of my earlier videos, but if you go check out my playlist, Everything You Need to Know About Rust, I have the recoil patterns of every single gun and a little bit of tips and tricks in between there on how you can perform better with weaponry. So we'll take a look at the AK, which has a pretty simple recoil pattern that you can learn, and this is just how you're going to move your mouse. You can try to count the bullets in between them, you know, go on a private server or a PvP only server where they just give you guns right away, and just practice learning the recoil pattern. I know that a lot of you out there know this, but for those of you who don't and complain about people wrecking you, this is how they do it. They learn the recoil pattern. So if we hop on over here, we can take a look at a few other tricks, like using other things for stairs and ladders. If you don't have space for stairs, or you need to put something down before the stairs, you can use furnaces, you can use workbenches, you can use repair table or research tables and mailboxes. And then the next thing I want to show you after that, which is incorporated in a similar way, is placing your traps and loot rooms correctly. So you want to place your traps in situations like this. We can push them back so that if we get rocketed, they're not going to take splash damage because of the quarter wall in front of it. So things like that you want to look out for. And another thing that I see a lot is people complaining about these unlootable loot rooms. So we can build them in a different way like this while still keeping them stacked on top of each other and making it really hard for raiders to get the loot without breaking walls. So in this situation, we are trying to keep some space without putting a half floor height. Otherwise, we would do that. We're trying to stack them on top of each other. And then we're going to use the research table to access the boxes on the top instead of a half floor and a fire pit to boost ourselves up. So you may be thinking, oh, but you can still do this trick on the bottom. I mean, yeah, but then they'd have to destroy your shotgun traps, and they would have to deal with the issue of it glitching through the foundation, which happens all the time. This trick is really not too fabulous. It's like, I don't know what the percentage of it is, but I tested it many times, and around 50 to 70% of the time it just glitches through the foundation, like no matter how hard you try. Even if you place the box perfectly, you're just gonna have a bad time. You can just sit and watch this if you would like to try to prove me wrong. If there is a way to avoid this from happening, I would love to know about it so that I can counter it, because I have yet to find a way to make these little stashes not glitch through the floor like that. And then, as you can see here, you're not able to place boxes on the top. And finally, at number 10, I want to talk to you about Rust Labs. So this is where I go to find my loot tables. This is how I know which crates to choose for certain items. Like in this case, if you're looking for a chair blueprint, you're going to want to go for the crates on the road. But if you're looking for a metal pickaxe, you're going to want to go for the crates in the caves, because of the 1% difference, you know, that adds up over time. So that means you're going to have a higher chance of finding a pickaxe from caves, unless you are strictly running across the road. You know what I mean? So you can kind of make decisions based off of these loot tables. And also it shows you things like melee damage to basically everything in the game, how many explosives it would take to destroy something, what it costs to make something, what it costs to research something, things like that. It also tells you like the cost of breaking it down, recycling it. And you can see every single item in the workbenches. You can click on them to see how much it would be to research them over rolling them in the workbench, for example, because some items are cheaper to research than they are to experiment for. So you can see things like that, along with many other things, such as the timer to destroy something. So if we take a look at the stone foundation, for example, we can see that Certain items are going to take less time, obviously, but here you can see exactly how long it would take to destroy something like a stone foundation. And you can also see some funny things down there, like how long it would take to destroy with a bone club, or how long it would take to destroy it with a torch, for example. And you can also see which ones are the fastest. I'm pretty sure the chainsaw doesn't work, even though it's on this list. I think it breaks when you use it on surfaces like metal, or it breaks really fast or something like that. So does the jackhammer, but you can refill it at a workbench. So you can see that the jackhammer is the fastest to destroy stone things with, meaning that it is probably the fastest thing to destroy everything with. But yeah, Rust Labs is a really good resource to use for things like that. I use it all the time, not only in game, but also to make some of my videos. But that's all I got for you guys today. If you are interested in some other topics or conversations, leave a comment down below, and I read my comments every single day. That's where I got most of my ideas from this video from. So thank you to all my subscribers leaving comments and giving me ideas for videos. I appreciate all of you. And as per usual, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to see some more things coming in the future, and hit the bell to make sure that you don't miss out when I release something new, because my schedule is a little random right now. And I'll catch you guys next time.